be very mindful about who you surround yourself with, right? Because our brains start operating at the same frequency as the people that we spend the most time with. And so that's why you hear people say, well, if you surround yourself with 5 really wealthy people, you're going to be the 6th wealthy person. We have within our brains these neurons called mirror neurons. And so what these mirror neurons do is that they help us sort of mimic the actions of others. So if I were to scratch my nose, it makes it more likely that in that moment you're going to scratch your nose. But it's not just about the physical actions that we're doing. It's also thought that these mirror neurons play a huge role in terms of our ability to empathize with others. And what we know is that neurons now start operating at the same frequency as the people that we spend our time with. And so then we start thinking like them. We start engaging in the same behaviors that they behave in. So you want to be really mindful of the people that you spend the most time with. One of the things that I see often is in medicine, right? One of the big things that people are terrified of is getting Alzheimer's disease. And one of the biggest myths when it comes to Alzheimer's disease is that it's not a lifestyle issue. The reality is it's very much a lifestyle issue. If people are eating poorly, if they have poor sleeping habits, if they don't exercise, they're more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. If they have diabetes, they're more likely to get Alzheimer's disease. In fact, a lot of neurologists and neuroscientists will tell you that Alzheimer's disease is really type 3 diabetes. And the reason that I say that is that one of the things that I see often is that people are not constantly learning. They'll stay at the same job for 20 and 30 years, doing the same thing, and then they'll retire. And all of a sudden, 3 months later, they start having all these cognitive issues. They start having all these signs and symptoms of dementia. And that's because they spent the last 20, 30 years not learning anything new. And so for business owners, for entrepreneurs, for professionals, it's so important that we are constantly learning. And that learning process allows our brains to make new neurons and new connections, right? So that's also really important. One of the things that I tell people, you know that saying that says that we are creatures of habit? Well, being creatures of habit is killing our neurological destiny, right? Having new experiences is so important for our neurological health. And that includes surrounding yourselves with people who do not think like you, who didn't grow up like you, who have different experiences than you do. It doesn't mean that you have to adopt their opinions, but the reality is that what they're sort of teaching you about their perspective and their life is allowing your brain to make new neurons and new connections. So there's a lot of things that people can do, especially business owners, to really get themselves to just a completely different level.